Bear! Hey, Bear! Hey, Bear!
¿Lo están viendo ustedes? ¿Están escuchando todo?
I did not like that.
No se está detectando algo en la esquina.
Se
Mira,
escucha como si alguien estuviera haciendo un ritual.
como de rodillas y ahora de pie.
Wild camping can turn unsettling fast when isolation, strange sounds, and unseen movement begin closing in. From a dark figure watching behind a tree to something throwing a rock into a campsite after midnight, how would you know when it is time to leave? On March 9th, 2023, Moxley's Paranormal World shared a solo overnight investigation at Boggart Hill. The UK-based channel focuses on solo wild camping, urban exploration, and overnight stays in unsettling places. This time, he enters an English woodland alone to spend the night and investigate the area.
We're just gonna literally take a walk over there, see if we can see anything, hear anything. I know there's a little bit of background noise, but there's nothing I can do about that. It's just one of those places that really did intrigue me. Yeah, just carrying on walking around here. It's not too late, it's only about 9 PM at the minute. So I do need to wait for it to go a bit quieter. But I was doing a little bit of research on boggarts, and
Before the tent is even set up, an unusual sound breaks through the normal background noise of the forest. A faint, rough whisper is picked up by the microphone, seeming to suggest that something is coming for him. The message makes him wonder whether he is wanted there at all. Soon after, he begins to feel as though something is moving back and forth beyond the nearby brush. The night has barely started, and he has not even taken a single piece of equipment out of his case. Boggart Hill is efficient.
if there's a boggart out here, see that again? A little flash. Can you make yourself known? Oh, what the hell? There's nothing out here to make that go off. Are you watching me? Can you see what I'm doing? Look at that. Can you make a noise so I can know where to go? You around here? If I keep coming down the path?
Farther along the trail, he challenges the possible presence to come closer and stand directly beside him. As soon as he finishes speaking, the K2 meter rises to its highest level. He is alone in the dark woodland, and the timing of the reaction makes the moment even more unsettling.
I thought somebody was stood behind me, and then I fell down a hole. This is what I mean. This is what I've read. Boggarts, they burrow into the ground apparently. And I've literally just walked over a hole there. With what goes around, it could just be a rabbit hole for all I know. Oh, but that definitely, I thought somebody was stood right behind me. Right, let's go get the tent. Let's set the tent up. Right, so I've got the tent. Stay in this location in front of the gates where people have said they've seen most of the sightings of the boggart at the bottom of the hill. So there's my tent there in that little red bag. So I'm going to build it up here, clear this out a little bit, build it up, then we'll just go from there tonight.
Later, he returns to the tent as heavy rain pours down outside and strikes the canvas. Then, a series of loud mechanical sounding bangs comes from the left side of the shelter. He wonders whether the noise could be coming from a factory or another distant source, but the timing, volume, and direction do not seem right to him. He stays still and listens.
That's out. I thought there was somebody looking at where I am, like looking towards me. Don't want to shout out, because if there is somebody there, they've already seen me, my lights on, and they're choosing not to speak. Could have sworn I just heard something then. This is the tree. Thought somebody was stood just here.
At another point, his flashlight shines along the concrete trail where a runner disappeared from sight. When he reaches a fork in the path, he suddenly stops. A pitch-black silhouette appears partly hidden behind a tree trunk. It remains completely still, staring from the darkness. It does not move away. By now, several strange events have happened. The EMF meter reacted after direct questions. The footsteps sounded like they came from something walking on two legs. The dark figure also did not behave like a normal person. It seemed to know that he could see it, but it remained still in the darkness. Eventually, he begins to feel that something nearby is copying the exact rhythm of his footsteps. That becomes the final reason for him to leave the woodland. He packs up his camp, climbs toward the summit, and spends the rest of the night outside in the open air. His radios had not stopped working, and his camera had not failed. He was still able to record. He simply no longer felt safe staying among the trees. In dense woodland, especially at night, it can be hard to tell where a sound is really coming from. Trees and uneven ground can reflect sound in different directions, making noises seem closer, farther away, or located somewhere else. Some of these moments may have ordinary explanations, while others are harder to understand. But when strange sounds, unusual equipment reactions, and unexplained movement happen one after another, how long would you stay before deciding to leave? What makes someone hike 12 kilometers toward an elevation of 8,500 feet in the Canadian Rockies after 4 straight days of rain? For these two brothers, the goal was simple. Reach the summit, then prepare a carefully cooked meal over an open fire somewhere near the top. Taste of Outdoors is a wilderness channel that combines high-altitude mountain journeys through areas with dangerous predators and wilderness cooking skills. It sounds like an exciting adventure until the environment begins changing the plan. On May 31st, 2025, the brothers traveled to Bighorn Country and the Landslide Lake Trail near Calgary, Alberta, for another outdoor adventure.
White-tailed deer. Those are the velvets. Dog, biru nahi ai. Bear. Holy we just got here and there's a grizzly right in front of me. Bear. Hey bear. Hey bear. Hey bear.
At around 2 p.m. before the hike had even begun, they stopped along the road to look at some white-tailed deer. Then they noticed something much more serious. A grizzly bear was standing directly in front of them. There was almost no warning. One moment they were watching the deer, and the next, a grizzly was right there. The brothers quickly got back into the car. After spending the night, however, they still decided to begin the hike the following morning.
At some places, I'm going down all the way to my thighs. Yeah, it's just too risky. Whoa. You see? That's scary. I want to be on solid ground. All right, so we are almost at the summit. The summit is right up there. But the problem is we don't have proper snow gear. So a little change of plans. We're not going to go over the summit. We're going to hike back down a mile where there's lots of firewood up here in the alpine zone.
As they climbed higher into the alpine zone, the conditions became more difficult. There was much more snow than they had expected, and they didn't have the proper gear to continue safely toward the summit. About a mile from the top, they changed their plan and began heading back down. While moving through the forest, one of the brothers stopped and looked at the trail ahead. Fresh grizzly paw prints were pressed deep into the soft ground on the exact path they were following. The tracks were heading in the same direction, and the edges still appeared sharp. Whatever had made them had passed through recently, but the brothers had no way of knowing how far away it might be.
God damn, we just spotted another black bear, and it was huge. It ran off as soon as we shouted, but there's a lot of bears here. You gotta be careful, very careful. All right, this camp spot is as good as any. We've got pretty flat ground, amazing views. The only concern is we spotted a bear about 100 meters up there. I mean, yeah, you don't want to sleep with the bears, but I don't know if you're gonna find a better camping site. First things first, we gotta see where the flattest ground is. It's not bad. It's got a little slope to it, but it should be okay.
The brothers continued down the trail and eventually found a relatively flat place to camp. The spot had a good view and an existing fire pit, which made setting up easier. But there was one major concern. A large black bear had been seen roughly 100 meters higher up the slope while they were preparing the campsite. Even so, they still set up their tent. The only other option was returning to the car, which was in the same area where they had encountered the grizzly at 2 p.m. the previous day. The final descent was steep and unstable. By then, they were calling out into the trees every few yards, having learned along the way that staying silent in this area could be a gamble. They made their way down, pushed through the mud, and eventually returned to the car. Fresh tracks can tell hikers that a large animal recently passed through an area, but they cannot show exactly where that animal is now. In places where visibility is limited, making regular noise can also help reduce the chance of surprising wildlife at close range. And after all that, the trip did not go as planned. The brothers never reached the summit, and their original goal had to be abandoned. Still, they made it through 3 separate bear encounters and returned home safely with their footage and every limb intact. They seemed to believe the experience was worth it, but after so many warning signs in one trip, how far would you continue before deciding it was time to turn back? This story comes from Haunted Finders, a UK-based paranormal investigation channel focused on overnight explorations of allegedly haunted forests and remote woodland areas. On April 10th, 2026, the team entered Bournemouth in Lincolnshire, England. The forest is large and dense, with a history stretching back centuries, and a reputation that local stories have kept alive.
We're in a place called Bournemouth in Lincolnshire. This is a massive forest, dense forest, and there are countless strange occurrences here. Now, when I was recommended this place, found out about the haunting of a witch. There is an older lady who was named Nancy Rutt, but people refer to her as Nanny Rutt, who's said to haunt this forest.
They arrived with only about 15 to 20 minutes of daylight remaining. That gave them very little time to understand the area before darkness covered the forest. Even before anything unusual happened, the location already carried a disturbing background. Stories connected to the forest included witchcraft shadowy figures, screams, and voices between the trees, and reports of large unidentified animals. Once people enter a place with that kind of reputation in mind, even ordinary sounds can feel much more important.
At first I thought it sounded like someone was walking up, and then there was sound like someone was whispering over there.
The first unusual response came through one of their communication devices. A single word appeared without any clear connection to the questions being asked. It was not enough to prove anything, but it was specific enough to make the group stop and listen more carefully.
That was someone screaming.
Yeah,
Listen. Oh shit. What the hell? Many other souls. You know what? I feel weird in here. I'm not on. I'm going all like, it's like I'm spacing out, and then I forget what I'm even doing. I didn't even know where I was then. Like I completely forgot that we were saying, what is it that you want often? And it said, chaos. Many other souls.
yeah.
Chaos now.
You hear that? Did you hear that?
I heard something, but I couldn't
I
make it
wanted
out.
out. It's too deep.
Soon after, a scream-like sound suddenly came from somewhere in the forest. Almost immediately, another response from the device appeared to refer to an offering. From that point, the mood of the investigation began to change. The group became more careful with their questions, and their reactions became less analytical.
Oh. 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 I did not like that. That was somebody. That was somebody breathing. That was somebody.
As the feeling of unease grew, then they began noticing movement from several directions. There were footstep sounds from different parts of the forest, and the feeling that something was nearby, although they could not identify exactly where it was. The situation became more uncomfortable when one investigator heard what sounded like breathing directly in front of him. It didn't seem distant or hidden deep among the trees. The sound appeared to come from the immediate space close to the group. At that point, their attention changed. Instead of only watching the forest around them, they began focusing on the space directly beside and in front of them.
My voice is heard. My voice is heard. I've just heard a child. I'm telling you, it was almost like a, I don't know, it could have been it sounded more like female, but it could have been a young boy, I don't know. But it was a kid.
Yeah.
Listen.
Right?
That was music. What the shit? Hello?
Later, another strange sound came from deeper inside the woods. It was short and electronic, almost like a notification tone. The sound seemed completely out of place in the surrounding environment, making it stand out even more. During an already tense investigation, dense woodland sound can be difficult to locate accurately, especially at night. Trees' distance and uneven ground can reflect or redirect noise, sometimes making a sound seem as though it came from somewhere different from its true source.
I ain't camping in that spot.
Not up there, no.
Sod that. I just feel like we're being followed. I don't like it. There's somebody walking behind us in the pitch black.
Where is it?
They're on their own.
Yeah, I can see him.
Let me see if I can catch it on the camera. He's up there. He's followed us all the way down that massive road. He's got no torch on, literally in the pitch black on his own.
The final and most unsettling moment came as the team was leaving. While moving through the darkness, someone noticed a figure behind them traveling through the trees along the same route. The figure had no flashlight or visible source of light. It remained far enough behind the group that they could not clearly identify who it was, but it continued moving along the same path through the pitch black forest. That discovery changed the way the earlier events could be viewed. Every unexplained footstep sound from the trees and moment when something seemed close became harder to dismiss once they knew a real person had been moving behind them in the dark, without a light or any warning. At the same time, fear can make it difficult to separate what is truly happening from what the mind may be adding. So after everything they heard and saw that night, which moments had a real source and which ones were shaped by the fear of knowing they were not alone? An overnight trip brought a solo camper into the woodland near Loch Va in the Scottish Highlands on August 18, 2025. The video comes from Eleanor Grace Adventures, a YouTube channel focused on wild camping in isolated places. Near Aviemore, Eleanor entered the forest hoping for solitude, but instead found a silence that seemed heavier and more disturbing than expected.
Around here, apparently around here, is a very old and abandoned car. I wanted to come here to find this really creepy abandoned old car. How the hell did they get a car down here? Was it airlifted in? Then I found a little carved off path, so it's got to be around here somewhere. It's got to be. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for like a big...
The surroundings appear deserted, untouched, and far from roads or foot traffic. With every step, she moves farther from town and deeper into an environment that seems cut off from everything beyond it, as though the forest itself has gone still.
Hiya, mate. You been here a while, or...?
I've done a fair bit of research on this car, and some things are left together what I found from previous explorers online. This is an Opel Olympia, a 1938 model, which is also a left-hand drive.
There's like a really old tin there.
It was made by the German manufacturer Opel and likely imported from Europe around this time, as this is an earlier model. I'm still unsure of how exactly Opel got here. Yes, I'm giving her a nickname because she deserves one, okay? My guess is that this part of the forest was once easier to reach by car.
While exploring beyond the main trail, she finds something unusual. A vintage Opel Olympia from the late 1930s abandoned among the trees. Thick woodland surrounds the vehicle, and there's no obvious route leading to it, making the old car seem out of place. Heavy rain begins as mist spreads through the forest. Rather than wait for the weather to pass, Eleanor decides to swim in the loch. While she is in the water, the surrounding woods remain strangely silent.
No better time than swimming in the rain. I mean, seriously. Who's in that case? There's just one person here that's swimming in torrential rain, me. And there must be people hiding in trees. Like, what the actual hell is she doing? Woohoo! Your dog is so cute. Really cute. Oh, really? So am I. Don't worry about it. So nice, so happy. Oh, it's peeing it down. Retreat under tree. We've still got a camp. And if this is going to be the weather tonight, I'll always remember this day. That car, I'll always remember that car. I wish I could have camped, like, next to the car.
As daylight fades, Eleanor has to relocate after seeing parking restrictions and settles at another spot near the trees.
On Google Maps. We've come in further down a little bit and I'm going to see what I can find here. This is absolutely stunning. You hear the birds? I don't know if you can, my mic's on. Wow. And I am covered by a tree, so hopefully it's actually not too bad.
She starts pitching her new tent while insects swarm around her. The woods remain disturbingly quiet, and the stillness gradually makes the area feel uncomfortable.
What you normally do? Look at the sun coming out, look, between the trees. It's beautiful. Look at the way I'm sat. Hello. This is not attractive, sat like this. I've had to keep dried foods in my car for how long? Because I've been on this trip a while now. And I'm going to have a pot noodle. It's better than nothing. Midgies. Oh, for God's sake, Ellie. I left the sachet in. Come on. Not really. I might have to split this up. Just waiting for my pitter. Now what? This is my first time ever. Now obviously I've camped a lot, but it's my first time ever camping. Like, I've got a rucksack full of stuff. This is how obviously a lot of wild camping is done. Stir crazy. Again. Sometimes you've just got to listen to yourself. I just know that I wouldn't enjoy it. I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm gonna have to try and figure out a way to do this like where I actually enjoy it, because if I'm not enjoying it and I'm just fidgeting all the time, like sat there for hours in the silence. 2 cars within the space of 2 minutes. They've just beat me when I was trying to sort out the back of the car. 2 blokes. I just went.
Later that night, after choosing to leave, Eleanor returns to her vehicle and organizes her equipment at the back. 2 cars drive by and honk their horns. The moment is brief, but the unwanted attention feels unsafe and reinforces her decision to leave. Some viewers see the experience as isolation and coincidence. Others argue that small details, including silence, remoteness, and unwanted attention, can change perception. When no obvious danger is visible, how do you know whether to stay calm or trust your instincts and leave? In October 2024, when Pellegrini, the creator of a YouTube channel known for exploring remote locations and unsettling folklore sites, traveled with a shaman named Unicornio Negro to an abandoned mansion on an isolated island. The property had remained untouched for over 20 years, with a past shaped by tragedy and stories of darker rituals. From the moment the group arrived, the house seemed filled with unresolved history, waiting to surface.
Tomamos esta lancha, más o menos la manejamos por... Bueno, no la manejé yo, la manejó el señor. Sí. ¿Cuántos años más o menos tiene abandonada esta casa?
Ya tiene más de 20 años este lugar. Como a este lugar no viene nadie.
Sí, ¿no? Y aparte la naturaleza hizo lo suyo y...
Sí. En este lugar en donde vamos a entrar hay muchísimas historias. Estas historias que te voy a contar son reales. Un hombre negro, grandísimo, de 3 metros, se ha visto caminando o deambulando alrededor.
Por eso estamos el día de hoy aquí, amigos. Vamos a entrar a la casa maldita de la montaña embrujada para justamente ver si los espíritus existen.
La historia de la casa embrujada de la montaña maldita comienza con una familia que decide comprar este terreno y hacer su propio hogar. Todo parecía ser un paraíso en medio de una isla solitaria, pero un día, sin previo aviso, el hombre de la casa se desvivió. La familia decidió venderla. Es que algunos años más tarde, la pareja que compró esta casa, un día la esposa amaneció colgada de una ventana del 2º piso.
Hoja de cucharo. Esta rama se utiliza dentro de la herbolaria para poder despojar las energías de las personas.
¿Escucharon eso?
¿Sí lo escucharon?
¿Qué fue?
¿Sí lo pudiste captar?
¿Allá?
Fue un grito.
Sí, fue un grito.
Un lamento, ¿no?
Sí, como de una mujer, ¿no?
Te digo que aquí hay una mujer que en las noches se puede ver y escuchar. Aquí se ha avistado muchísimas demonios. Uno de ellos ha sido el charro. Se cuenta que aquí alrededor lo han visto. Y aquellas personas que lo han visto no han podido ni siquiera moverse, ni gritar, ni salir corriendo. Solo lo ven y se quedan petrificados. No solamente han visto al charro, sino también han visto a una mujer. Hay que tener muchísimo cuidado porque esta misma energía puede hacer que se desmaye la persona con menos espíritu. Aquí se han desmayado.
¿Por qué te le quedas viendo a Santi?
Porque pues yo sé que él es el que trae el espíritu más bajo.
Oigan, todo eso que escuchan, no sé qué sea, no sé si sean pájaros o monos, porque en esta isla hay monos.
Sí.
¿En esta casa también se hacen rituales satánicos?
De hecho, estás adentro de un portal. Alrededor de ti están muchísimas puntos que fueron veladores.
Spirit box,
Ese
perfecto.
es un punto. A todos los seres que habitan en este lugar, los espíritus impuros, los demonios, incluso a la Santa Muerte, el día de hoy pido se hagan presente todos estos energías, espíritu en este lugar que necesite de nuestra ayuda. Que tu nombre sea, que así se haga. Cómetelo. Cómetelo.
¿Empezamos?
Sí.
Ok.
A partir de ahora.
¿Hay algún espíritu que se encuentre aquí? ¿Eres maligno? ¿Eh?
Sí, tu cabello se estaba moviendo de este lado. Aquí, ¿verdad? Se alzaba. En unos momentos acabamos de tener lo que fue una actividad aquí con ella y en el video se muestra cómo su pelo se le empieza a alzar hasta acá.
¿Qué está pasando? ¿Qué estamos haciendo? Me siento muy observada. ¡Qué bueno! ¿Me están contestando? ¿Te molesta que estemos aquí? ¿Eres la mujer de blanco que se aparece? Se escuchan muchísimos ruidos afuera de aquí de la casa, amigo.
¿Eres mujer? Te vas a quedar aquí un momento, quiero hacer una prueba. Vean, ese que yo tengo es
Santi.
la forma, ¿no? de la persona. Lo voy a mover para otros lados y así nos vamos a dar cuenta si hay algo aquí. Se está detectando algo en la esquina.
Se
Mira,
escucha como si alguien estuviera haciendo un ritual.
como de rodillas y ahora de pie. A ver, me voy a poner al lado.
¿Sí ven cómo detecta a el unicornio?
Entonces me voy a quitar. Ustedes lo están viendo, me voy a quitar.
No mames. No inventes, sí hay algo ahí definitivamente. ¿Escuchan?
Sí. ¿Escuchaste? No hay que separarnos, por favor. Los lugares a donde luego voy hay miles de murciélagos, miles.
Mira, aquí parece como si estuviera bailando, mira. Tingiriringui, tingiri. ¡Una persona chiquita, mamón! Güey, ¿qué es? ¿Una luche?
On the lower floor, the shaman presented hoja de cucharo and explained that it was used to clear the heavy energies settled there during years of abandonment. As they passed through the narrow rooms, a weak, strained cry seemed to come from deeper within the mansion. The shaman linked the sound to the woman in the property's history. His warning about the group's most vulnerable member created tension that stayed with them. As the mood changed, they continued farther inside, where another unusual moment followed. They entered the section associated with previous rituals and tried using a spirit box, but each attempt ended when the device powered off. After switching to a motion tracking application, the screen showed the outline of a full-size figure standing in an empty corner. Soon afterward, a smaller shape appeared, moving in uneven motions that the shaman connected to aluches or duendes. The group remained quiet while the figures flickered on the display, and the room began to feel increasingly tense. As the atmosphere grew heavier, they moved upstairs where the most difficult part of the visit unfolded.
Justamente aquí, pero en la otra habitación, fue donde vimos la última vez que venimos. La mujer caminaba, deambulaba en la naturaleza y se fue perdiendo entre los árboles. Aquí, ponte aquí.
Ay,
Cierra
cabrón.
tus ojos y escribe las cosas.
Me siento como intranquila. Siento como si algo me estuviera agarrando las manos. Y ahora... ¡Ay! Güey, siento que alguien me está tocando.
Tranquila. Descríbelo todo sin miedo. Aquí estoy yo.
Literalmente siento como si alguien me estuviera tocando.
Tal vez están tratando de contactarse a través de ti.
No, güey, paso.
¿Qué más sientes?
Está empezando a doler la boca del estómago aquí. Otra vez, que cuando normalmente me duele aquí es porque hay algo.
Está absorbiendo parte de tu energía. Hoy hemos venido a entregar parte de nuestra energía y no se los había comentado.
Siento que me están agarrando la mano izquierda.
Cuando sientes que te están agarrando la mano, ¿esta mano es grande o es pequeña?
Grande. Siento que es más grande que la mía. La siento delicada como si fuera una mujer, pero sí siento que es una mano grande.
¿Lo están viendo ustedes? ¿Están escuchando todo?
Sí.
Ahora vamos a preguntarle algo. ¿Necesitas ayuda?
No.
No, simplemente quiere que nos vayamos. ¿Tú eres la persona que está haciendo ruido?
No. Nos están molestando. Ay, no. Me siento las piernas mal, o sea, están congeladas. Siento como si quisiera caminar, pero no puedo. Me siento como si...
Hay un sentimiento encontrado.
Ajá.
Puedo sentir ese sentimiento. Ese sentimiento te está causando tristeza, te está causando un vacío en tu cuerpo.
Estoy angustiadísima.
¿Te atormenta algo de tu pasado? Al fondo de tus recuerdos. Por eso no has podido recordarlo.
¿Y qué es? Me está ardiendo aquí muy...
Son las ganas de liberarte.
Ok, me quiero liberar.
Respiras profundo. Exhalas. De todo lo que me ha pasado.
De todo lo que me ha pasado.
Tanto de lo bueno como lo malo.
Tanto de lo bueno como de lo malo. Güey, está muy cabrón. Me arde aquí. Siento calientísimo.
Respira profundamente y vas a decir, nada de lo que me ha pasado.
Nada de lo que me ha pasado.
Ha sido culpa mía.
Ha sido culpa mía. Güey, si estás muy...
¿Sí está bien? ¿Estás bien? Vámonos.
Güey, no lo puedo creer, no lo puedo creer, no lo puedo creer. ¿Cómo supiste?
On the second floor inside the room where a woman had once been found, Cellegrini suddenly felt a strong sensation around her hand. She described it as though another hand was gripping hers firmly enough that she had to mention it. Following the shaman's guidance, she attempted to respond to whatever might have been present, but Her words broke into repeated refusals that became increasingly strained. Her legs felt heavy, her emotions intensified, and a buried memory returned. The reaction left her deeply shaken, leading the shaman to decide that staying inside the mansion was no longer safe. The shaman's explanations involving cleansing leaves, wandering spirits, and protective beings presented each event within a broader spiritual framework. Viewers later noted how the failing equipment and emotional reactions appeared to match beliefs connected with Aluche's duendes and the lasting imprint of tragic experiences. As they left the island, the shaman warned them to remain cautious. One question remained. Were they simply responding to the mansion's disturbing history, or had something inside been actively aware of them? What do you think truly happened inside that abandoned house? On September 9th, 2025, in isolated mountains near Harrison Hot Springs in British Columbia, a region often called Canada's Sasquatch capital, Angelo and his friend Lomar began another search for the unexplained. Their channel, Exploring with Angelo, focuses on remote camping wilderness adventures and investigating unusual stories in areas most people avoid. This time, however, the quiet forest seemed too conscious of their arrival.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new adventure. We are back out here in Harrison Hot Springs. Here we're actually in the Sasquatch capital of Canada. The most sightings. Hopefully we today capture Bigfoot on camera. That is my ultimate goal. I want to see him either crossing a road or something. Over the past year and a half, we've come out twice, once in October, once in July. Now we're out here again in August. There's so many stories of Sasquatch or Bigfoot being out in this particular area.
Once in Harrison Hot Springs, Angelo explained the mission directly. This remote part of British Columbia had a reputation as the Sasquatch capital of Canada, and they wanted to capture Bigfoot on camera. The surrounding woods were strangely quiet, almost as though the forest were listening to their plans. Before they had even traveled far into the mountains, the feeling that something might be observing them was already present. Then the trip began producing problems.
Now the other thing too is let's just hope we don't get a flat tire, because we got this wheel bearing replaced yesterday. They checked out the tire, which kept going flat because of the heat from the wheel bearing. We went to a gas station to pick up ice for our cooler, and the thing was literally on 10 psi basically. All right, we are approaching the visitor center and Sasquatch Museum. Almost there. That's what I'm looking for. So basically here, what we're gonna do is drive all of this. And if we have time, maybe tomorrow we'll go into this area, since there's been a lot of sightings over there as well. So there you go. It's got lots of these are the actual reportings of what they've seen. So this is Hicks Lake. Mr. Claire Brevin reported to Thomas Steenberg that his camper was visited and shaken by a Sasquatch, which woke him up. It also tried to pull on the door handle. He viewed the creature leave his camp and walk forward to the lakeshore. Some of these date back to 1939. This one's about a prospector who spotted 4 dark, hair-covered creatures in a valley off the headwaters of Silver River. The creatures appeared to be playing or wrestling. Wow. Youth camp director sees a Sasquatch while he was sitting by a campfire. Other witnesses with the group reported seeing the creature as well. So the adventure begins into Sasquatch Provincial Park. There it is! Sasquatch! Yeah! Come on, me! We do gotta get up the hill, right? Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and find Bigfoot from the sky right now. We're using both our drones. Let's get her up in the air in a moment.
Dude, the views. It's crazy up here.
There is the beautiful smoggy lake right now. Holy, that looks so intense. Wow. It's beautiful.
This hill is massive.
Let's see.
We were a lot higher.
Let's get
so
some
the drones
zoom going here.
That would be something.
So there is a spot down in that direction. That was where me and Kimberly last year we're basically camping out. We had a nice little campfire going, just chilling. I think we made some food and stuff. But off camera, all of a sudden we heard something. Like the weirdest kind of, I don't even know, like sort of like a howl, but kind of like a whoop whoop at the same time. Off in the bush, so.
I mean, Bigfoot is known to mimic for what people say, so.
Yeah. Imagine he just like comes into the bush right here while we're both just like staring at our screens.
What do you want?
Looking for me? They're hunting us as we're hunting them.
Right?
Before leaving the town area, they discovered their first issue. One tire had fallen to only 10 psi, despite believing the problem had already been repaired. At the nearby Sasquatch Museum, they came across an account about a camper being rocked, while someone outside nearly forced open the door during the night. The story was unsettling, especially given why they were there. Even so, they continued driving deeper into the mountains. As they entered Sasquatch Provincial Park, the route became narrower with dark roads surrounded by dense forest. They sent up a drone to look across the landscape, but the footage showed the lake below covered by smoke from wildfires. Angelo remembered hearing an unexplained whooping sound in the same area during the previous year. Returning now, the place felt heavy again, and farther into the forest they began noticing more unusual signs.
Hello. You guys see a Bigfoot? Nope. No? Okay. Nope. Oh my gosh. Okay. Something here. There was a tree that had a marker on it, and something snapped it. Right?
It's kind of like, it's like chewed.
Yeah. Timber. Like, how the hell did that happen? But the real reason we stopped was because we were starting to pick up an odor as we were driving through this way. And it smelled really bad. So we're kind of just like pausing for a second and just see maybe if we see something. There's like a big clearing and opening up here too. Wow, we just found a absolutely gorgeous location right on the lake. So this is kind of more like an actual campsite. Like there are people with like their trailers and RVs and stuff. There are several sightings like along this way, reported sightings of Bigfoot. So you never know, we could be in the water and all of a sudden just Bigfoot comes out of the freaking trees. So we've continued on further down the road. Curious to like what's ahead of the beach campsite area. All right guys, so we kind of found a spot where we think we might actually camp out tonight. Pretty freaking amazing. All right guys, so we've been just kind of chilling for a little bit. One last time, and even if we don't catch anything, at least we have a beautiful view. That is for damn sure. I also just noticed something on the ground here. Ugh. There's a bullet casing. Looks like an AK bullet, I think. Anyway, doesn't matter. Not seeing anything, not even a bear. Nothing. Well, that's pretty much it, I guess. Not gonna see anything from the sky.
Away from the main trail, they discovered what seemed like their first physical clue. A tree broken cleanly through, in a way they believed did not resemble ordinary weather damage or decay. Soon afterward, a powerful foul smell moved through the area strong enough to stop both men in their tracks. The odor remained briefly before fading, suggesting that whatever had caused it might still be nearby. As they continued, more uneasy details followed: a new campsite, another tire losing air, and spent shell casings lying along the ridge. But the most disturbing moments came after sunset.
Alrighty, burgers, round 2. One for me, one for Lamar. Okay, did you just hear that, like, noise again? Right? Like, we keep hearing, like, random... I don't know what that was, but okay. Excellent. These burgers are actually good. In a bit, I'm gonna go and see if there's, like, something on the road that's making those noises.
It's happening again!
What the hell is that? It literally came from up there.
The road goes up there, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there.
Let's see if we hear it again. That is not Gerbert, bro. Whatever that is not Gerbert.
That is not a Gerbert, man. I hear a car, but I don't see it.
I hear it too.
Oh, it's coming down the road, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's something
What direction was it?
going up.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not even joking.
I thought I heard something going down.
Like, I'm seriously, it's like echoing.
Well, best of luck. Okay. Just try not to die. We are in bear territory, of course. But there's 100% something going on. We're hearing something. Well, let me know what's up there. If there is anything, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, it sounded like, I don't know if the sound was just resonating, but it sounded like there was something in both directions, which is kind of the reason why we're being stupid right now. Hello? Woo, woo, woo. Okay, I just heard something. Okay, I legit heard something like right down there. It almost sounded like a whoop, or I guess, is that what you describe it as? It's impossible to see anything out here because it's just so dense. Oh, what the? Dude, was that a rock? Oh, there's another one. What in the hell was that? Well, it just sounded like something moved behind me. Anyway, whatever. I figured since I'm missing a beer, apparently, the last thing I remember is I had almost a full beer, entirely full beer. I don't know where it went, unless I put it down somewhere and I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, maybe I should try Spear Talker. I mean, these mountains probably are haunted, so... Whoa, what the fuck was that? Dude, something just hit the fucking table.
There's like some sort of bear or something really close by, bro. A lot of movement, either that or a Sasquatch is right here.
Yo, something literally just hit the table over here. Okay, whatever. Alright, bedtime. Holy crap. It's been a long day. It was hot today, too.
Hello? Oh! No way! It would have been one of these. Bro, it literally hit the table, man. That was absolutely messed up, dude. Could it have been this one?
I have no idea.
Oh, dude, smell this rock. Literally smell the rock. What the hell is that smell, man?
I don't know. I usually don't smell rocks.
No, but like it had a stench to it when I picked it up.
Darkness changed the atmosphere completely. 2 large rocks landed near Angelo while he was on the trail, causing them to retreat toward camp. Later, a full beer disappeared from the table without explanation. Then, sometime after 1:30 in the morning, something struck the ground just outside the tent, with enough force for them to feel the impact. Reviewing the footage, they saw that the camera had recorded an object being thrown toward their table. Angelo later picked up the rock and noticed the same foul odor on its surface. Neither of them slept. They stayed awake listening and wondering whether something had been standing just beyond the tent. Viewers later compared the events with patterns reported in similar encounters, accurately thrown, stone-strong odors appearing before close incidents, and objects disappearing from campsites. Some suggested that younger Sasquatch are sometimes described in stories as playful, yet unpredictable. Others argued that whatever caused the disturbance around the tent seemed too powerful to be small. If the noises did not come from Lomar, the missing beer was not simply misplaced, and the rock truly carried an unexplained odor, then what was moving around their campsite after the surrounding forest had gone quiet? That's it for tonight. Which moment creep? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story, share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.